I'm going to do something that nobody done on your television. You know what I'm going to do on your episode? I'm going to pretend that I'm an Israeli citizen. I'm going to put myself in the place of an Israeli settler in the kibbutz. And I want to speak to my Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, I have voted for you.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I hope you're all well. To be honest, since the Palestinian crisis escalated after an apparent counter-offensive by Palestinian Defense Force, something happened, I think, with Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan was trying all he can to make sense of the Gaza crisis, and he has been apparently on the side of Israel because obviously he has to do so or he get banned from some of the social media networks. In this situation, he has interviewed a couple of guys, especially very popular guys from the Jewish community. He has interviewed Ben Shapiro. That interview went viral, but until he interviewed that person who is the principal actor in the episode today. So he also interviewed Muhammad Hijab. The video of Muhammad Hijab also went viral. But when he interviewed Bassem, Youssef, everything changed. That video alone got about 11 million views, which underscore the most important thing in all this charade, that Bassem Youssef said the truth. He talked to those in authority. He spoke without equivocation. He spoke without fear. He actually tore apart the hypocrisy that has characterized the campaign in Gaza ever since the counteroffensive that unfortunately took life, by Hamas. So honestly, he went very hard on Ben Shapiro. The most intriguing thing about it is that he was very smart. He actually addressed Ben Shapiro in such a way that first it was funny, but then filled and laced with many degree of wisdom.
I will be serious. I was watching your interview with Ben Shapiro, and I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
I think that Ben Shapiro is one of the smartest people who ever walked this earth. He's very, very smart. I follow him, and I believe everything he said. And when he came on your show, his solution was, and I quote, his solution was that the solution for this is for Israel to annex Gaza and to kill as many sons of as possible to make sure that this will never happen again. And anyone who called for a ceasefire will be a terrorist sympathizer. So God forbid, I don't want to be labeled as a terrorist sympathizer. So I agree with Ben Shapiro. I think we should kill as many sons of as possible.
Well, let me.
So
okay,
far,
but Bassem, let me.
So far, 3,500 people were killed, including 5,000 sons of in the bombing of the Baptist hospital as we speak right now. 1/3 of those 3,500 were children. So my question to Ben Shapiro is, how many more sons of do we need to kill so Ben Shapiro is happy?
Okay,
because it changes
Bassem,
from 1 year.
It
changes from one. I'm sorry that. Listen, I'm really at a disadvantage here. I'm looking at a camera. I don't see you. I can hear you on my ears.
The reason I'm interrupting
so
is I think you might be.
I
think you're conflating different interviews with Ben Shapiro. He didn't use the phrase "sons of me." Let me play to you what he actually said on my show.
He did. Go back to your interview.
No, he didn't. That was another interview. But let me play what he said to me here.
Well, frankly, I don't believe in proportionate response to terrorism. I believe that the way that you stop terrorism is with wildly disproportionate response. That doesn't mean in terms of targeting civilians. It means in terms of killing as many terrorists as humanly possible and allowing them to dictate the terms of engagement by hiding behind civilians in areas that they are supposedly responsible for means that the only option for Israel is to surrender to Hamas's hatred of its own citizens, its willingness to use its own children as human shields. No country worth its salt could ever do that.
All right, you could see what Ben Shapiro said. Very, very insensitive of him. He doesn't really want to care. I've watched a couple of his videos about the crisis in Ukraine, and I could see the discreetness with which he addresses the crisis, even when Russia strikes quote-unquote civilian targets, or when Ukraine strikes deep inside of Russia. His approach to this crisis is completely different from the way he's approaching the Gaza, issue.
I agree with him. The thing is, the question is, what is a proportionate response? Because it has been different from one tier to another. So if you look to this graph, for example, this is the death of Israeli and Palestinians, and it's changing from one year to year. It's like fluctuating like crypto. So my question is today, what is the going rate today for human lives? I mean, 2014 was a great year for Ben Shapiro. 88 Israelis were died, and there was 2,329 Palestinians killed on the other side. That is one Israeli for 27 Palestinians. That is a very good exchange rate. What I'm saying is, what is the exchange rate for today? You guys will be happy. That's my question.
Well, it's not me, guys. I'm not on either side.
No, not you. Like when I say you guys, I say like the people on the other side of that. I know that you don't think like that, Pierre. You're one of the good guys. But let me tell you something. I mean, the reason that I'm using this is that, I mean, I can't remember what happened in 2014, and there was no music festival, but there must be something. I mean, they must do something. It is their fault. It has to be something. I mean, 2018, 300 Palestinians died. Who's counting, So the thing is, what my question is, let's find what is the exchange rate for human life today, so we expect the future death of Palestinians, and we'll be happy to it.
My response to that would be this, Bassem. I've thought carefully about this because I think it's very tricky for people like me to immerse ourselves into a conflict where we're not directly involved. And I thought carefully about what I feel about this. I feel that the scale of what Hamas did on October the 7th supersedes anything else I've seen in this conflict, really ever. The savagery, the butchery, the slaughter of 1,300 people, the shooting of babies, the 100%. Kidnapping of grandmothers, and so on. So if we can agree on that, which I think is inarguable, then the question then becomes, again, about proportion. I don't disagree that there's been a lot of bad stuff on both sides going back historically for decades. But if we agree that this was on a different level altogether, quite deliberately by Hamas, designed to provoke. No, here's my question. Let me ask you a question. And the question, because you raised it earlier about proportion. I honestly don't know what the proportionate response is. I honestly don't. I don't. I've been watching the airstrikes this week thinking...
So what's your question?
Well, I would ask you, if you were Israel, what would you...
If I was Israel?
If you were Israel and that had happened to you, what would you think would be the appropriate way for the country to respond?
I would do exactly like Israel did, kill as many people as possible, since the world is letting me do it. I mean, I can do it because I can, But the thing is, I agree with you. And you know what? I'm going to be even ahead of you, because I see the question coming. Do you condemn Hamas for the atrocity? Yes, I condemn Hamas. I condemn Hamas. Hamas is the source of all evil. They're a reason for everything. And you know what? Let's, for a minute, imagine a world without Hamas.
Right.
What will this world look like? Let's give this word a name, and let's name this word the West Bank. Hamas has absolutely no control in the West Bank. And since the beginning of this year, only through August, 37 Palestinian kids were killed. No music festival, no paragliding, no Hamas. Since the occupation of the West Bank, 7,000 Palestinians were killed. No music festival, no paragliding, no Hamas.
Well, Bassem said it all. In all of my videos since this crisis started, I have been very unequivocal in making my stand and my position very clear that it's really wrong that an advanced country like Israel, that has one of the best advanced technological intelligence system in the world. It has one of the best militaries, and aided by the United States and the collective West, with all the intelligence, with all the advancement. Yet Israel finds it difficult to go and pinpointly fight Hamas without, destroying innocent lives. That's the argument that Ben Shapiro is trying to pass on us, that are we that daft? Like, am I that crazy to not understand that Israel has the capabilities to go after any militant group, anybody in Gaza, without endangering the lives of civilians?
So if I can understand this correctly, basically Israel is doing this to pressure the Palestinian community in Gaza to turn against Hamas. Is that right?
I'm sure that's part of it, yes.
That's part of it. So this is exactly what terrorist organizations do, because terrorist organizations will have no chance beating a whole nation in battle. So they terrorize and they kill the civilians in order to spread fear and terror so they can turn against their government to change their policy or to resign. You have just compared Israel with ISIS.
No, I haven't. I don't see any comparison between
It's
Israel
going to be
and
the
ISIS.
headlines tomorrow. Piers Morgan,
it's
Israel
not.
is ISIS. Lots of
Only
ISIS.
amongst people who weren't listening. The comparison, which is more apposite, is ISIS and Hamas. They are both nihilistic terror groups intent on killing as many people and others as they can possibly kill. And you can't get peace with people like that.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm going to do something that nobody done on your television. You know what I'm going to do on your episode? I'm going to pretend that I'm an Israeli citizen. I'm going to put myself in the place of an Israeli settler in the kibbutz. And I want to speak to my Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, I have voted for you because you have promised us peace and prosperity and security. On the 7th of October, those son of bitches Hamas, they went into the fence that is regularly heavily guarded. Usually if there's like a dove that comes close to it, it will be shot. Those people went in and they went for 6 hours before IDF forces was deployed, killing our friends, our families, kidnapping our grandmothers and babies, and went in. I want to ask you, Mr. Prime Minister, after you have fractured the Israeli community and you have fucked our courts, our Supreme Courts, what are you doing with the money being given to you, to the United States? Also, you are carpet bombing Gaza with absolutely no regard to our hostages, our people. I heard a rumor in the kibbutz that you're doing that you let that happen as an excuse to carpet bomb Gaza, so you push them into Sinai. And I didn't believe that. That's like, not my Prime Minister, he can never do that. And then I watched an interview for Danny Ayalon. He was your chief advisor. He was also the Israeli ambassador to the United States. And you know what he said, Mr. Prime Minister? He said that the solution for those Palestinians is to go into a vast land of Sinai and live into tent cities temporarily, temporarily, wink wink, until we build Gaza again, and then we invite you back. يعني عبط احنا بقى. يعني فاهمني؟ We've seen this movie before. So يعني, and when I saw this, I couldn't explain to my fellows in the kibbutz, how come our Israeli government is trading human lives for another piece of land?
Bassem Youssef obviously used a very strong languages out there. I really appreciate his outspokenness, and I really have to edit those areas where he used very strong languages so that we don't get banned here on YouTube. Well, but he made the point and is very clear, and his impersonation of an Israeli and also speaking with the Prime Minister is really creative of him. Well, how do you feel about what Youssef Bassem said in this video? Well, I feel very happy that this kind of statement was made directly in I think a show that would get to millions of people already. That's garnered over 11 million views so far, and which means the awareness has been created. Please like, share, and tell me what you feel about it in the comment section. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to this amazing channel so that we can stay connected with you in the future. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.